Hello and welcome or welcome back. Today we're just going to be doing another episode of Tales from the Crypt, Season 1, Episode 3. So, before we get started with that, I just want to say it's just me, no AI, no script, no nothing, just a dumb pothead. So I really appreciate just, a sub, a like, a comment, any of that. Thank you all for chilling, by the way, as always, and we will get right into it. This one's called Dig That Cat. He's Real Gone. It starts off at a carnival where we see who the main attraction is. The guy from the Matrix. Well, one of the guys from the Matrix, the bad guy, one of the bad guys. His name is Ulrich the Undying, and he is able to just die and come back. Well, he's getting ready to be buried alive, and not only buried alive, but buried at midnight and not dug up until noon the next day, 12 the next day, 12 hours in a coffin under the ground. But as he goes into the coffin and he closes it up, he lights a candle and he starts telling his story. He starts off with this German doctor walking through this warehouse, and you see this box. And he approaches the box, and there you see Matrix guy holding a knife, and he's looking disheveled, but fairly clean for a homeless person. And the German doctor offers him his life savings if he just will let him do an experiment on him. You know, normal things. So then it cuts to the doctor's lab where he explains. He's like, well, cats have 9 lives, right? He's like, had this experiment, I killed this cat, and he came back, and I did it again, and he came back, and until, 9 lives were up, and then he just didn't come back. So pretty much what he's implying is that he wants to put this gland, I don't know, it's like this thing in the cat's brain that'll heals their body and makes them come back to life. I don't know. It's really weird. It's not really well explained. It doesn't have to be. So Matrix guy is all definitely into it, and he's just like, all right, let's do it. So then he wakes up from the surgery. He's perfectly fine except for the doctor shaved the back of his head, which he kind of didn't like at first. And then the Matrix guy asks the $1,000,000 question: How do I know it worked? How do I know I have 9 lives? Well, the German doctor, he has a Luger, I think, and pops him in the head to test it. So he comes back. Matrix guy's like, you tried to kill me and all this shit, and the doctor's just like, well, no, I did. I succeeded. And then they kind of like it's like a moment where it's just like, holy shit, it worked. And then the doctor's just like, well, it doesn't have to stop here. He's just like, me and you could be partners. And something about this, your lives are very valuable. So then the Matrix dude's just all like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. And then he does this thing, he looks in the mirror and he has to wiggle the mirror as he's just like, oh yeah, woo. I kind of like that. It's like the director's just like, I want you to look into it. I want you to stare in the mirror like you're thinking, and then you just, woo. So then it cuts to the German doctor cutting a deal with the guy that runs that carnival. And they come to an agreement, mostly because the circus is kind of going under. This is kind of like this guy's like last resort almost. So then it cuts to the main carny guy, and he's got the Michael Jordan mustache, which I respect it. He's got the balls to do it. Good for him. And then you see Ulrich. He's in a tube, getting ready to be, I guess, drowned. Anyway, the carny's doing his thing, come one, come all, this guy's about to die. What they're gonna do is they're gonna drown him and let him sit in the water for an hour to prove that he is dead and that he will come back. But at the end there, at the hour mark, the guy kind of jumps the gun. The carny kind of jumps the gun, and he's like, keeps yelling, resurrection, resurrection, and well, as the water's draining, you just see the body slumping against the glass and, sliding down. It's kind of comical. Tales from the Crypt. It doesn't really take itself crazy serious. And then he finally, wakes up. But it's funny because as he's going in, this chick is like, will you go out with me? And, he's sitting there drowning. Pretty bad timing. But anyway, he wakes up. He wakes up, right? And then asks her name and stuff like that, and then they go out and like they're a unit now. It then comes to the next show, where he's gonna be hanging out a little bit. This is where this is the segment that I might just have to go through pretty quickly because YouTube. But he's gonna be like hanging out, and he's trying to get his new girlfriend. She's like the assistant for the show. He's trying to get his new girlfriend to pull the lever. He's just like, fine, I'll do it. And he pulls it, and then this part kind of made me laugh because then he comes back as he's still hanging there, and he's just like, I don't want to waste a life, but I want you guys to like do the math, keep this math in mind, and like do a little bit of extra thinking. I mean, I know it's obvious, but do a little bit extra thinking, and then also don't forget to hit that sub button or the like button and the bell and the everything else. It then cuts to the doctor and Ulrich talking about things, and the doctor keeps saying, it's a 60-40 split, and it's to fund my research and all this stuff. And you could tell Ulrich's starting to get a little bit bitter. He starts saying things like, no problems, Doc. You're the one that counts the money. So then what ends up happening is Ulrich, well, he wants to increase his profit margins, or however the hell he words it, by, taking the doctor out on a drive during a rainy night and, well, getting in a bad car accident that he himself will survive. Yeah, he gets to waste a life, but he also gets rid of that 60% hole. That's the incentive. So the doc's gone. When you think about it, he should have just kept him around. He could have just negotiated with him in the car and been like, you know what, I want the 60%, you take the 40% or something like that. And then, it could have worked out. You never know. He could have gotten another gland. They could have kept cycling out these glands, right? That was my thought. So then the next one is dedicated to the doctor. And this one is funny because, I was like, of course they're going to electrocute him. This show loves electrocuting people. They love using electrocution in this show. And I know I've only done 3 episodes, but I've watched more. And, yeah. But anyway, this one's probably... I would say this one's probably the most, gruesome one, in a way. Or graphic, I guess. It does a lot of close-ups of him while he's being electrocuted. But anyway, they get a granny to pull the lever or whatever the hell, and well, he gets shocked to death. It took a very long time for him to come back this time, to where he was at the they thought that he was gone. So, he's at the corner getting ready to be embalmed, until he just totally just screws with this coroner. This coroner never came back to work. So now he has it in his head. He's just like, shit. And now it just all depends on, it could be 5 minutes or it could be 5 hours to where he comes back. So it's just man, a lot can happen in that period of time. You could be embalmed, and what if I get embalmed? Is that a quality? Will I come back? Will I want to come back? What kind of quality of life would that be with an embalming fluid running through your veins, being alive? The next one, it's kind of probably, to me, it's more the funnier one. It's they're charging $1,000 an arrow to shoot him through the heart, and he's a moving target. And it goes through a couple that doesn't want to pay it. The guy wanted to do it, but he didn't want to pay $1,000. And then it cuts to just some nerdy guy that wants to take his shot. I'm sure that he's probably a director or producer or something important to the show. That's the way that's the way I think when I see a character like that. It's it's probably I don't know, a producer or a writer or some shit. Anyway, he ends up missing. And then it cuts to a father and a son, where the father just wants the kid to, get a kill. He's like, come on, I've been killing people for years. It's your turn now. Some shit. It's really funny. But anyway, the kid misses. He shoots the bear, I think it is, in front of him in the dick. So I don't think he was really trying to take the guy out. But then anyway, it cuts to a guy who is a archery champion at a state fair or something like that. So the guy's gonna hit it. Well, it's bullseye right through the heart. And then he takes his kind of takes his steps and falls over. His girl's waving money in front of him while she's smiling and all this, and you kind of see where it's gonna go. Well, anyway, it takes him a while to come back again. So his girl is talking to this cop that's saying it doesn't matter what kind of arrangement you have. You can't just you can't just have a dead body, pretty much. And then she's like, well, he said if there was any problems, just to give this to you. And it was a wad of cash that is apparently more than that cop makes in a year. So, yeah, he helps her move the body. Then it cuts to Ulrich and his girl there in his trailer. It's kind of talking about a vacation and all this shit. And then, well, the entire time, I guess, she's been plotting behind his back. And, she then stabs him in the back and takes all the money and leaves. And that really pisses him off. I don't blame him. So then anyway, I want you guys to remember the math. But he's like, I got one more life, and it's gonna be like my retirement death, right? So then he's just like, my final one. He talks the guy into 100% of the profit. 100% of I think it's just the ticket sales or whatever. I don't think it's concessions, because then he makes a joke. He's just like, I probably could have talked him into the concessions and yada yada yada, So the carny reluctantly agrees. So then it cuts back to the beginning of the episode where, Ulrich, the Matrix guy, the bad Matrix dude, is in the coffin telling his story, and he's kind of realizing some things. Okay, you remember that math that I've been mentioning, and also hit that sub button. He then talks about the cat that he's grateful for, the one that he got the gland for. He's like, that poor cat died so I can have its gland. And then he's like, wait a minute. He's like, I didn't have 9 lives, I had 8 lives. And then now he's freaking out, screaming and pounding in the coffin. It's fully buried at this point. And there's a couple of workers out there. They hear a noise, but then You know, they just brush it off their shoulder as well. Might have been a cat, right? And then there's where a black cat comes and just sits on the grave as Ulrich is pounding and screaming, and then you see the candle that he lit in the beginning of the episode fade away as it like signifies the fact that he's run out of air, and then you hear him gasping and wheezing, and then it just cuts to the cat on the grave, and then cuts to the crypt keeper petting some pussy. Well, if you stuck around this long, I really do appreciate you. These videos, I do enjoy these videos, so I want to keep making them as long as I can keep making them. That'd be great. But yeah, I would really appreciate it if you guys would hit that sub button, hit the like button, maybe leave a comment, maybe share it. You know, you could share it to like your great granny. Maybe she'll subscribe. That'd be awesome. But yeah, this is the halfway through the first season. Already 3 episodes out of 6. Yeah, and then there's 93 altogether for it. We'll see. I've also started kind of watching the X-Files again. I haven't watched that, oh man, like in a long time, very long time. So I don't know if I'm gonna do something with that or not. That would be cool. I also gotta like think about copyright, because I know some studios and some like copyright holders will be cooler than others, you know. Like, they'll actually be like, oh yeah, that is fair use, so it's fair game, right? But then others will be like, well, that's fair use, but I don't want you using my shit. Which I guess I understand, but that's still some bullshit, you know? I don't know. But anyway, I'll stop ranting and rambling and let you get on with your day or night. If you would just please consider doing all the things that YouTube likes and that I appreciate very, very much. Thank you so much for hanging out. It really does mean the world to me. Especially times like now where I'm just trying to find something different, something more, I don't know, would I say sustainable? I don't know. Gaming is so just, I love it. I love doing those videos, but it's just so, like, what would you want to call it? It's so crowded. There's a lot of creators, a lot of videos in that. I'm going to try something different, something that I wanted to do for a long time, and I really do appreciate you guys for, I guess, letting me do that, even though I'm sub 200 sub count, so I mean, I guess I can kind of do whatever I want, but you know, you guys have been pretty positive about it, and I really do appreciate it. But you have a good one, and I will catch you on the next one.